Well, welcome to Milwauking. This is episode 14, and I am joined by Renee Graef today. Renee is a children's book illustrator, and thrilled to have her join us today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Renee and I met at the Knickerbocker Hotel, or the Knickerbocker on the Lake. It's a condominium hotel located in downtown Milwaukee. If you haven't been to the Knickerbocker, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous building. And Renee bought a condo. Renee and her husband bought a condo with me. Well, two of them actually.
Two of them, yes. We bought the first one, and we just bought the second one about 2 weeks ago. And it's a little bit of a larger unit, and it's wonderful because now I can set up my illustration studio there. So because we have a home in Los Angeles, and then I spend a lot of time in Wisconsin. My husband does too, because I work with Wisconsin Historical Society Press and a lot of Midwest books. So and plus my family's here, my friends are here. And
it's a wonderful city.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Well, Renee just illustrated a new book called Lulu and Rocky in Milwaukee. We have a copy of it here for you to take a look at. It is available for sale. I should mention that.
Yes. Yes, it's
many locations.
Yes, Boswell Books, Broadway Paper, Historic Milwaukee. It's available at most places.
Most places
yeah,
you can buy books.
Most bookstores, and yes.
My first question is regarding how you work with the author of the book, and when does the collaboration start? Specifically, in this case, with Lulu and Rocky, and then I'm assuming that's a little different with the other books that you have illustrated.
Right.
So you just explain how that collaboration typically works?
Okay, yeah. Normally, I've illustrated about 80 books. So normally what happens if the publisher contacts me after they have a manuscript that's already been edited. And normally I do not talk to the author at all. Mm-hmm. But in this case, Barb Josie and I lived in Cedarburg.
Okay.
And she's written about 50 books. And so we just got to be friends over the years, best friends now. Nice. And we just wanted to work together. And we just kind of thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to write about Milwaukee since it's right here.
Right.
And we love Milwaukee, so that's what we did. And it took a long time. I mean, it's taken years to develop it, because you write it and then you edit it, and then I sketch and I re-sketch and I re-sketch. So it just is a long, long process. But so you kind of have to have a vision for where you want to go.
Did you guys meet professionally, or was it just a coincidence that you both worked in children's books?
It was just a coincidence that we both worked in children's books.
Okay.
And just over time, we got to know each other in Cedarburg.
That's great.
And it was kind of interesting because when my children were little, we lived in Bayview, and one of our favorite books was Mama, Do You Love Me? Okay. And my daughter and I had the whole thing memorized. And that book of hers has sold over 3 million copies.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had no idea that she was in Wisconsin and close by.
Right.
So it was just a delight when we started working together.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's neat. Well, in Rocky, or Lulu and Rocky in Milwaukee, you visit quite a few local landmarks. You're at the Pfister Milwaukee Art Museum, the Third Ward. How much time do you spend at each location when you're putting the illustrations together?
Well, Milwaukee was a little bit different because we could just visit it whenever we wanted to, and we just knew certain icons like the Pfister Hotel. Right. Everyone holds very dear, and the mural, and so that was kind of a given that we would go with that. Sure. And then the Milwaukee Art Museum is kind of like the aha moment in the book, and just things like fish fry, and and Benelux. When they go to the Third Ward, that's my husband and I love going to Benelux. So and so it's just we just picked out our favorite places, but those kind of changed too. But as opposed to when we go to other cities, because Milwaukee is the first one, and then we go to other cities, and it takes us like 4 days. still research.
Do you contact people to help you out? Is there a local
Yes.
tourism group or something that you try to reach out to?
Right. The author, Barb Josie, she contacts the Visit Detroit or, Visit Music City for Nashville. And then this is like months and months ago. So she works through the whole schedule. So we try to, she schedules it all out per day, who we're going to talk to. And sometimes we have tours by somebody that works there, which is really helpful. And then we try to leave some room for serendipity.
Oh, good.
Because it's just amazing, these magical moments that can happen where you meet people that really kind of turn the direction of a book.
Sure.
So that's important for creativity. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So at the Pfister, you did a beautiful job capturing the ceiling.
Thank you.
How long do you think that took?
That spread took about 50 hours, I would say.
50 hours.
For a detailed spread, it takes about 50, and I go
Okay.
through 2 rounds of sketches so that, the editor can see what I'm going to draw.
Sure.
So there's no major changes, when I turn in the artwork.
Right, okay, interesting. What do you think will surprise most of us about illustrating children's books?
Just the time involved.
Yes.
And the fact that you're sketching and re-sketching. This book probably took about 700 hours.
Wow.
So, and I don't usually work 8 to 5. I work, things just take longer than you think.
Imagine.
So I'm working sometimes 10, 12-hour days. When the deadline comes up, it comes up, and
Right.
yeah.
You've got to be ready.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So how did you become an illustrator?
Well, I grew up in Greendale, and I went to UWM for 3 years, and then I transferred to UW-Madison.
Okay.
And then I got a work-study job as an in-house illustrator for the agriculture journalism department. And when I graduated, they gave me a full-time job for University of Wisconsin Extension Publications.
Okay.
So I did anything from cartoony to realism, which is why I have so many different styles now.
Sure, okay.
And and then I started freelancing with ad agencies. And then I heard about somebody that was starting up this company that she wanted to do books and dolls based on history.
Okay.
This is back in 1984. And so I met Pleasant Rowland, who started American Girl. And she had this vision, and there's a big stack of Xerox copies of the research.
Okay.
And so I sketched out Kirsten, Samantha, and Molly, and the first 3 characters, so that she could show people, what she was thinking of.
She's from the ground up.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I went on from there to illustrate the Kirsten books. And
Okay.
Meet Kirsten was my first children's book.
Oh, that's neat.
And then I did a lot of the historical paper dolls. And then, as it turns out, a few years later, I worked for HarperCollins for 5 years. I was their creative director on Little House in the Big Woods, Little House in the Prairie picture books.
Wow.
So, which had paper dolls and calendars and all that. So, and after that, I started working with Sleeping Bear Press.
Okay.
And they do alphabet books about each state.
Right.
And the very first book I did for them is B is for Badger,
That's
a Wisconsin alphabet.
My girls are going to love that. Yes.
Yeah, and I knew from the start that I really thought Sleeping Bear Press should be the publisher on this book.
Okay.
Because they're just, they're in Michigan, they're, and they're wonderful to work with, so.
Super.
Yeah.
What would you recommend, or what advice would you give to somebody who wanted to get into children's book illustration? Or just illustration in
Or just
general?
illustration, yeah.
Sure, right.
Yeah. Well, first off, I would say practice, practice, practice,
Right.
because you just need to work on your craft. There's the 10,000-hour theory.
Sure.
Which, if it's not 10,000, maybe about, it should just be a lot of hours, because I think it does take time to hone your craft.
For sure.
And then I would say work on one style, not many styles, because I have many styles, but I don't think that really helps me. I think it's better to work with one style and to be involved in social media.
Gotcha.
Right.
So as far as the social media side of it, you focus on Instagram, Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook, yes.
Okay.
And it's good to maybe pick out two, because otherwise you just get totally overwhelmed.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
And
certainly am.
yeah, but if you have it, every day, 6 days a week, I'm on Renee Graef illustration, and on Facebook and Instagram, and then I'm trying to have more Lulu and Rocky posts, and so I kind of have a schedule, and if I'm not traveling, it's easy to keep up.
Sure,
Not easy,
right,
but
right.
it works.
Oh, that's great.
And but it's fun to interact with people on social media.
Oh, it
too.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you've done Lulu and Rocky in Milwaukee. You've done Lulu and Rocky in Detroit.
Right.
Indianapolis is next.
Nashville.
Nashville
I'm working
is
on
next.
Nashville book
Okay.
next, and that is due in next month, actually.
So I should stop taking your time.
So I have some of it done. So and then I work on a Christmas book, and then I work on Lulu and Rocky in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, gotcha.
And
Okay.
so I'm doing a lot of traveling.
It sounds like it, yes. As Lulu
Yeah.
and Rocky go, so does Renee.
Yes, and Barb.
And Barbara, right.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Chris, for asking me, and then for finding us our Milwaukee home.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, thanks again. It's been my pleasure getting to know you.
Great, great.
Thanks.